What do we do with T'Challa? Marvel might be doing the unthinkable and recast T'Challa, the Black Panther. But reintroducing him this late in the game introduces a whole bunch of problems that not many people realize. At the same time, if Disney does this correctly, recasting Black Panther also opens up so many doors for the MCU to recover from its cinematic slump. And that's something we're definitely gonna break down in this video. Actors are already being looked at, and all of this news of recasting Black Panther is coming from Jeff Snyder, a very reputable Hollywood insider. While this sounds exciting for some, other people are not amused, and in order for this video to make sense, we have to give you context. Black Panther was portrayed by Chadwick Boseman, who was first introduced into the MCU via the 2016 film Captain America: Civil War. 2 years later, Chadwick Boseman returned as the titular character of the film Black Panther, which expanded on his character from Civil War. The film grossed $1.3 billion worldwide and was even the first time a superhero film was announced for a Best Picture at the Oscars. But then, in 2020, everyone was hit with shocking news. It's crazy to think about it, but it's been 5 years since we lost our original Black Panther actor, Chadwick Boseman. We lost our icon to a silent battle with cancer. Chadwick Boseman didn't want his illness to stop him from doing what he loved, and so when he passed away, it took us all by surprise, including people that he worked with. Conversations to recast him were extremely controversial, to say the least, and it felt like it was too soon. In June 2021, Marvel began filming Black Panther 2, Wakanda Forever, letting us know that they will not be recasting T'Challa, instead following Shuri take up the throne. Black Panther 2 would release in 2022 to mixed reviews. Everyone was ready to bring up the elephant in the room. What do we do with T'Challa? The end of Black Panther 2 reveals that T'Challa had a son, and they named him T'Challa Jr. So what makes recasting him today so different than before? Ahead of the upcoming Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars, fans are debating over seeing T'Challa again via a time skip or using the multiverse. Welcome to another episode of Kaylex Encounter, and if you've been here before, so all of this is coming from Jeff Snyder, the Hollywood insider. On his InSnyder page, he says that the studio is finally firmly open to bringing back the King of Wakanda, despite previous attempts to recast the role getting rebuffed by previous actors who don't want to jeopardize their careers by stepping into Boseman's gigantic shoes.
I completely understand.
I get it, but what makes me happy is that we're finally having the conversation that we should have been having years ago. And it's not to be insensitive, but I firmly believe that T'Challa should have been recast from the jump.
I was never against the T'Challa recasting. I would have actually preferred if they went down that direction. But at the same time, I can understand why they chose opposite. Once his family came out and said, yo, do the damn thing.
Yeah, bro.
That was, I don't care what no other fan has to say.
It was obvious something was missing from Black Panther 2, and that was the T'Challa character. A lot of people are going to argue, and the reason why they didn't want to recast is that there's only one T'Challa. And I don't like that argument, because you could still honor and respect Chadwick Boseman and move on to another T'Challa. The character of T'Challa is an image, it's an icon. People have such a hard time moving on to getting recast.
I kind of say this a lot, but Disney does listen.
Interesting theory.
No, it's been proven way too many times. Disney hears the things you guys are saying. You might not think so, but they hear this 100%. Because let's take it back. Chadwick Boseman just died. 2 months later, Disney comes out and says, yeah, we recasted a Black Panther. You do know what the first thing would be that people would say? Disney doesn't care about these people. They only care about making money.
That is true.
That would have been the first thing out of people's mouths.
But see, here's the thing. The question is not who's being casted. It's more of, how is this going to work? Because this presents way too many problems. At the end of Black Panther 2, remember we were introduced to a T'Challa Jr. Disney was trying to do a happy medium, but then the issue of age comes into play. Bro is probably only like 6-7 years old when we see him in Black Panther 2.
And at this point, Marvel has already written himself into a corner, and honestly, there's no backtracking. The whole T'Challa Jr. thing, it's either you're gonna stick with Kid T'Challa or you're just gonna throw him under the bus. Because if you don't, that whole reveal at the end is just pointless at this point.
Someone said on Twitter, what if Aldous Hodge plays an adult version of T'Challa Jr. from the future and returns to present-day Wakanda to help fight Doctor Doom and Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars? would be an interesting way to connect to the Wakanda Forever and bring in an adult Black Panther.
No. like, why are we trying to bring time travel back into this?
Somebody responded with, I say this with respect, I'd rather the variant from another universe or just revive T'Challa. I'm not into the whole junior thing. This is what I mean by what's more important is not what is happening, it's how is this going to happen? Because sure, we could recast T'Challa, but there really is only two ways to do that. And that's through time jumping, or we go, everybody say it with me, multiverse. And I hate that this is becoming a thing. You guys know our feelings on how we feel about the multiverse stuff. It is lazy writing, but for whatever reason, I think this is the one scenario where I'll let it slide. And I also have to address my own hypocrisy at that. I like the idea of a multiverse T'Challa rather than time jumping. Let me explain. If we're going to get a multiverse Black Panther, we should be in a brand new timeline, but I'll also throw something else in here that I haven't heard too many people say. This is also how to save and recover the MCU. And Black Panther could be a great opportunity to do that. This is gonna come off as a curveball, but since we have a brand new T'Challa in this brand new universe, that also means that we could introduce other characters in the original MCU that would have been way too convoluted. The X-Men and the Fantastic Four. I think this would be a great opportunity for the Fantastic Four that we're going to see this summer to also have this version of Black Panther. And I think that this could work because when Black Panther was first introduced, he was introduced in a Fantastic Four comic. We could also use this alternate T'Challa to introduce Storm / the X-Men in this universe. And the reason why I say that is because Cynthia Erivo, who's very popular right now for Wicked, said that she would love to play Storm, and that's her dream casting. And this sets up the perfect opportunity to see a Storm and Black Panther relationship in the MCU.
I like Cynthia. I don't know if I could see her as Storm though.
I think I can. I think it depends on what type of Storm we're looking at, right? If we're talking about an older, more like experienced, weathered Storm, she's perfect. Goddess Storm. I think that in this universe, it should be so wildly different from the Wakanda we got in the original timeline, which is why I think Storm should be introduced in this one. And if Storm's introduced, then that means this also offers the opportunity, the MCU, to introduce mutants. This could be the universe that Monica Rambeau is stuck in with the whole X-Men situation.
Yes, if, this is a big if, the MCU was smart, that could literally be our link to both of them.
Even though I would like an older Storm, we should get an in-between intermediate Storm with T'Challa. So at some point, Storm ends up leaving Wakanda to go do what she has to do with the X-Men. If we were to recast T'Challa, who are you recasting him?
Damson Idris.
Oh my God.
That is a dark-skinned brother that needs some roles.
I think he needs roles. We're gonna see him this year in F1, and I like him as an actor, but I don't see him as a Black Panther. I think Aldis Hodge is a much better casting choice.
I wouldn't say much, but I like your opinion.
Some people are saying that John Boyega should take on the role. There's other people that are saying John David Washington, who's Denzel Washington's son.
I just don't see it. And I like Boyega and I like David Washington. I just don't see it.
If you were gonna cast young Storm, who would you cast then?
I have two names. The first one, I'm extremely strong on. I would cast Marseille Martin. The only thing is, she is extremely young. I think she's about 19 right now. Here's the thing, I'm not expecting to see Storm, let alone any mutant, in the MCU for another 5 years, at the bare minimum.
Who else are you casting as Storm?
Yara Shahidi.
If Monica Rambeau,
I know, I was going to listen.
If Teyonah Parris, I think that's perfect.
Let's not lead
Storm.
into it. I know, cuz. I know. I see that too, but I'm like, okay, I guess.
Man, if she was Storm, that would have been perfect, but it is what it is. I think this Black Panther casting opens up a huge door to save the MCU. And we've been talking about this. X-Men and the Fantastic Four is the MCU's last ditch effort. And if you guys want to see our thoughts on the X-Men and how it could save the MCU, click over here and we'll see you in the next encounter.
Peace.